like to hear what she has to say to sort of, you know, give us that extra little dose of hope that is that of audacity. So, Miss Margaret, what are you thinking? You've heard Gayleen, you've heard all of this discussion around the data centers, you heard, some people don't really want to feel how they want to feel about the party. We got all this work to do. So tell us something here.
What I heard was the complexity of the problems we face, not just in Virginia, but in all 50 states. It's, well, I don't even know the word to use for this because it's mind blowing. You can't not understand that you can't solve everything all at the same time, but you can solve some things simultaneously. You can't, everybody can't believe the same way another person's beliefs are. Climate is an issue for me. Of all the things we've talked about, there are only two things that are of interest to me in terms of the hierarchy of things: voting rights and the climate. Because if you can't live where you are, whether it's Virginia or Hawaii or whatever it is, voting doesn't make sense because you're dead. You don't have the energy to do anything else. We are denying our children and our grandchildren the opportunity to live as human beings in a not just a free society, but in a society that's clean for them to be able to breathe, to be able to function. And the other thing, if you can't vote, like my parents weren't able to for almost as long as they were alive, then there is no hope. You bring me hope because you're out there pushing every single day for the right to do this or the right to do that, whether it's the whether it's a climate issue, whether it's a hospital in a rural area. We need all of it. We need all of you. We need you to keep doing what you're doing. We need you to be, I want to use the word savior, but I'm not the most religious person in the world. We want you to save the world. And what I've heard today, you're on that road to doing that. I appreciate you so. I really do. There really is hope. And yes, I happen to be 90 years old. So you mentioned 90. I didn't know that you knew that was my birth date also. But yes, it's heartbreaking to hear what I heard today. And yet at the same time, it's so satisfying because you're bringing the issues to the forefront. And if you don't know an issue, you can't resolve it. It's like if you don't know history, you don't know history. You can't you can't deal with the problems we're facing today if you don't know what happened a decade ago or 4 centuries ago. So the more you know, the more you can bring realistic problems and solutions to the table. So keep doing what you're doing. There is hope.
Thank you, Miss Margaret. I want to end where I began, and that is about Juneteenth and really the significance that it has, the hope that you bring us, Miss Margaret, Gayleen, our candidates today, which were just amazing. That gives me a lot of hope. The Obama Library Center opening today gives me hope. The words of Michelle Obama and President Obama, which in all of this confusion and chaos, that they are able to talk about hope and change and yes, we can. And when you think about what happened when 2.5 years later, these people were told that they were free, the happiness that they must have felt from all that they had been through, and they shared that and they lived that, and then here it wasn't enough, it was still more work to be done, and then here we are today, and we're thinking about what we're seeing in all this chaos and confusion, but inside of all of that, here we are celebrating Juneteenth, and many will celebrate it today and many will celebrate it tomorrow in our communities. And what we'll be talking about is how do we move forward and come together collectively, as Gayleen has talked about, to give us what we need to continue our hope, which is winning this election in November, because it's all of our issues. If you can't vote, you can't protect reproductive rights. If you can't vote, you can't protect people having the opportunity to live the way they want to live. It is all about voting. It is everything. It is a nonpartisan issue. It is an issue of who we are. It's just that simple. And I think what I would say finally is, as we're trying to have discussions with people about what takes them to the polls, we're talking about affordability. It doesn't matter what rural community you live in. You either want clean water, you either want air that you can breathe, you want health care and hospitals, you want good schools for your children. You'll just have to decide, if deciding what someone else does with their body, deciding who marries who, deciding if you're going to go to a bathroom, deciding if you're ever going to see a transgender person in your life, you're going to have to decide if those things are more important to you
Was
than
back and
just being
was back.
able to live your life. So I am wrapping up. And so the final point that I would make, after you all made me lose my train of thought, the final point that I would make is that James Baldwin, as I would always say, for those who think that because we don't solve the data issue today, is that voting is a calculated risk. And you don't always get the things that you want, but it's an opportunity to pause.
Thank
And a quote that I would give you to end with is, failure is simply the opportunity to begin again, this time more intelligently.